Previously, I made a video on this channel about watching a movie at PVR PXL. I watched KGF Chapter 2 at PVR PXL Money Square here in Kolkata, and at that time I made a really casual vlog style video where I discussed about the film as well as my experience watching it in PXL, apparently the largest screen in the city. Since then, a lot of you guys are curious to know which one among PVR PXL at Money Square and IMAX, that is at South City in Kolkata, has the best movie watching experience to offer in the city. As a filmmaker and movie lover, I was also determined to find out an exact and definitive answer to this question. So for this comparison, what better way to find out this answer than to watch the same movie that is shot in IMAX for the IMAX in both the theaters. So I watched Oppenheimer in both PVR PXL and IMAX, and today I'm gonna share with you my honest opinion about both the theaters and tell you exactly which one I loved more. Previously, I wanted to do this same experiment during the release of Tenet, the previous film of Christopher Nolan, which was also extensively shot on IMAX cameras, but that time, due to the pandemic, it didn't happen. But recently, I had to go through a really terrible experience of my life, which I don't want anyone to face. I was totally devastated, exhausted, defeated, but still I wanted to continue with my life and my work, and here I am making this video. So anyway, moving on with our topic, let me first give you some context. So for this comparison, I wanted to watch a movie that is mostly shot on actual IMAX cameras. For example, movies like Tenet, Dunkirk, Nope, Oppenheimer, etc. The movies which are actually printed on 70mm IMAX rolls, although here in India we are not getting them. Mostly all IMAX theaters in India have digital 2K laser IMAX projectors, and these are infamously known as LIMAXs, but still these are better than most other normal theaters anyway. Now I'm only concerned about the 2D experience and I'm not interested in any 3D movies. For this comparison, I wanted to watch the same movie in both the theaters, and that too back to back. I wanted to judge the theaters on the basis of their video and audio experience. Apart from that, I'm also considering the ticket prices, screen size, theater size, seat comfort, space, and overall viewing experience. So let's talk about my experience at PVR PXL first. This is the third time I watched a movie there, but honestly, none of the time it met my expectations. The screen size is actually huge, gigantic. The theater is also huge, but I don't know why it's really difficult to find a good sitting position that gives you an optimized viewing experience. I don't know, but something always feels off. I mean, maybe the screen angle is not aligned properly with all the seats. No matter where you sit, in my 3 times experience, it wasn't a comfortable viewing experience any of the time. The screen seems tilted in a way that if you sit in the front row or even in the middle row, you have to watch it from an off axis. It seems like the screen is designed to be viewed comfortably only from the top rows. But if you want to have a good surround audio experience, then you would want to sit in the center of the auditorium. But if you are sitting there, then you don't get a good viewing angle. And if you sit at the backside rows, then you don't get the surround audio experience properly. So the screen seems tilted and it feels like that you are watching the movie at an off axis, and it's really uncomfortable to sit through the entire movie. Although the seats themselves are quite comfortable, the sound quality is also decent and loud enough, but it's really difficult to find the sweet spot from where you get both the best video and audio experience. Moreover, the auditorium is so huge in size that somehow you don't feel connected with the film. You watch the movie from a distance and it's not an intimate viewing experience. They projected KGF Chapter 2 in CinemaScope, and you don't get any benefit of the larger screen real estate for regular movies which are actually shot with normal aspect ratios. In the case of Oppenheimer though, they projected it mostly from edge to edge, but when I watched it again in IMAX, I realized that in PVR PXL, they didn't show any extra image. It seems like they just stretched the movie to fit the edge to edge of the screen. Or perhaps there was some extra image, but definitely IMAX had more image to show. So I think the movies which are actually shot on IMAX cameras or are optimized for IMAX screenings or shot in a bigger aspect ratio, only then the bigger screen of PVR PXL is worth it. Otherwise, for normal movies, it doesn't even utilize the extra screen real estate. So watching a normal movie on PVR PXL for the sake of the bigger screen size doesn't make any sense. Now, as far as I know, they project from a 4K laser projector, and the brightness and the clarity of the image is great, but you will notice chromatic glitches throughout the entire projection of the film, which could be really annoying for someone like me who notices these small glitches easily. For an average audience, this might not be an issue. Moreover, they may not even be able to notice these glitches at all, but it's there. It's quite evident. I noticed it at the time of watching KGF Chapter 2, and I have also mentioned it in my previous discussion video of KGF Chapter 2, and I have also noticed this heavily throughout the entire projection of Oppenheimer. For rupees 350, I think it gives you a decent movie watching experience. If you want to watch a movie on the biggest screen with loud and clear audio experience, and you are getting tickets for the seats at the backside rows of the theater, in that case, you may want to experience PVR PXL once and check it out for yourself if you like it or not. Although I wouldn't recommend the extreme last row, as you wouldn't get the surround effect of the audio that much. Now if you ask me, I'm never going back to this theater again. So for regular movies or Bollywood movies, I would prefer to watch them on a regular INOX screen which has Dolby Atmos in it. I think the screen 2 of South City INOX has Dolby Atmos in it, and I watched RRR there. And if you want luxury, then you can also go for Insignia, that's even better. Now coming to IMAX, this has definitely become my most favorite theater to watch those movies which are shot on actual IMAX cameras. Previously, I had watched Joker on this screen and the experience was mind-blowing. That film was shot with an Alexa 65 camera, which has a large format sensor, and that film was also optimized for digital IMAX screenings. I also watched Pathaan in IMAX, but it didn't give me any better experience than watching it on a normal INOX screen. So for Bollywood movies and other movies which aren't shot in IMAX properly, until there, I'll always prefer to watch them on regular INOX screens with Dolby Atmos. But for movies which are shot with actual IMAX cameras or at least mastered for IMAX screenings, I'll always recommend you to watch those movies in IMAX. This is hands down the best movie watching experience that you can get. Watching Oppenheimer on IMAX for the second time gave me an ethereal experience and I just loved it. They actually projected a IMAX version of the film, which was projected not only from edge to edge of the huge screen, but it actually also had extra image that I didn't get to see in PXL. The clarity and brightness of the image are also better. Unlike PXL, there is no such glitch. You see a clear and sharp image. They have their own IMAX proprietary sound system, which is loud and clear, massive sounding, just amazing. The screen size and the aspect ratio are perfect as well, and the viewing angle is also properly aligned with all the seats. No matter where you sit in the auditorium, it gives you a comfortable viewing experience. The seats themselves are also comfortable, you get a good legroom, the auditorium is also not that big, the screen is not that far, and this gives you a much more cozy and intimate experience of watching the movie, which I prefer. It's like watching a movie in a personal theater. Although the South City IMAX in Kolkata is not a proper IMAX, as I said earlier, these are infamously known as Limaxes. They project from a digital IMAX 2K laser projector and not from the actual 70mm IMAX reels. But still, in my opinion, if you are in Kolkata and want to watch those films which are shot with actual IMAX cameras or at least mastered for IMAX screenings at the best quality possible, then the South City IMAX would be the best option for you, period. Although the ticket prices are definitely on the higher side, I paid around 600 rupees to watch Oppenheimer and every penny was worth it. I'm glad that I didn't miss watching this movie on IMAX. So if you can afford and are confused between PXL and IMAX, choose IMAX in a heartbeat.